morning, guys. I actually just found this carton of eggs kind of in a stack on my counter. I didn't just find it. I knew it was there, but I don't know how long it's been there, so this could be interesting. It's not like these have been sitting there for years, but months, yes. Looks good to me. Is that yummy? Mm-hmm. If you didn't already know, eggs, when they come out of the chicken, are covered with a protective coating called a bloom. And that bloom basically preserves the eggs for quite some time. Because of that, I wasn't really worried about any of those eggs being bad in the carton. Truthfully, you can smell it before you crack them open. Come on, help us. We've gotten a lot of rain in the last day or so that we have desperately needed, but oftentimes they don't like to step foot in the wet grass or wet ground. It's not muddy right there. She just isn't used to it because it hasn't rained in forever. Come on, Elvis. Look, it's not that bad. Come on. See her hair growing back? Good girl, come on. Goats are not morning people. They don't like any kind of wetness, and the dew is pretty heavy this morning. So we'll come back out after we go into the beehives and check on her again later. A lot of people are not aware of this, but honeybees are actually an invasive species in the United States. Honeybees were not here until we brought them here from Europe ages ago. And the sheer number of bees in a honeybee colony can ensure that something like a disease could spread quite quickly in the native bee population. And that's something that beekeepers really do have a responsibility to help manage. It's been quite a while since I've been in this colony, and I can tell that their population has absolutely exploded. This here is a resource frame with honey and pollen. All the white capped stuff over there, that's honey, and the orange pollen is down in those cells. I see a lot of eggs and small larvae on this frame. Lots of good resources. There's some bees with pollen on their legs. Check out this awesome brood frame. So all of the cappings on this frame, aside from the whiter parts in the corners, that is all capped baby bees. So they'll emerge out of those cells within around a week, and this hive is going to have more and more bees, which is kind of hard to imagine, but it's a fact. Look at the pollen on this colony. Oh my goodness. See all that? That is so gorgeous. They're not hurting for resources, that's for sure. This frame has our queen on it. She is in the corner right here trying to find a place to hide. Is she beautiful? Consequently too, this frame also has a bunch of little baby bees on it. I'm gonna try to get a good angle, but I may miss them. I'm seeing a lot of nice, juicy, C-shaped larvae down in the cells, and all looks well with them. I don't like to mess around with my frame that has the queen on it, so I'm gonna be very gentle and put her right back. lot of you may be noticing that our little girl Elpis is walking kind of funny. She sort of walks a little bit diagonal, and that's because she actually was just infected with a literal brain worm, and the vet gave us a prescription for some medicine that did kill the worm. She said it's going to be about a month before we know if Elpis is going to regain full control over her back legs, but she's doing so much better than she was already, and her last dose of medicine was just a few days ago. I'll be back later to milk. You be sweet. So it's lunchtime now, and with each meal I really try to incorporate at least one farm procured item in the meal. So this morning it was quail eggs, and I'm about to go out and pick a little bit of produce to go with the boys' lunch today. My girls are actually with their grandmother for a long weekend. But we're really blessed to live near an Amish market where we can get really nice stuff like this for very, very inexpensive. So this little prosciutto and mozzarella pack was 50 cents. This is a really easy thing for me to throw together on a busy day, so let's go pick the produce. Look at that fat one. Oh my goodness. Oh, Mommy, what do you have? Oh my goodness. Good job, Mommy. As happens often on a farm, you're doing something, and then something else comes up that takes priority. So that little baby can't reach the water that I have in here for the rest of the chickens and turkeys. So I've got to fill a waterer that baby can reach, or it's not gonna live. Oh, there's hummingbirds in the greenhouse. You guys. Are you girls stuck? It's all right. Calm down. I'll open the door. Hold on. Here, mamas. I don't know how many babies they have in there. Look. I'm trying to decide if I want to just take them and basically ensure their survival by raising them in the brooder, or if I just want to let the mamas raise them and see what happens. There's definitely a risk with that. Being as I don't necessarily need turkey this season, I think I'll opt to throw tomatoes over the fence every once in a while and see how it goes. Back to picking lunch. Milk that needs to be strained, and on the farm here at this time of year especially, I really have to keep in the mindset of preserving or processing something every day during this busy time, or I'm going to get behind. You can probably tell, there you go, you can probably see I have a mountain of tomatoes behind me, but I'm not planning on dealing with tomatoes today. That's a tomorrow issue. Today we're going to be making farmer's cheese from some of our milk. I do have to strain it first though, or some little hairs or little bits of dust or whatever from the barn is going to get in our cheese, and we don't want that. I like to use 2 filters to strain the milk. If I use one, it seems like little hairs and stuff can get through, and when using 2, I can't actually use this milk strainer the way that it's supposed to be used, so this is what I have to do. Secure rubber band around the outside when normally the filters go on the inside. This does work though. Look at the junk that we strained out. Isn't that gross? So I've got 2 gallons of milk in my pot. That is all that's gonna fit in here. And it's going to be just fine as long as I watch it and don't forget. If I walk away, milk very, very readily bubbles up and over, and that will be a big giant mess. So my goal is to not let the milk boil or bubble over. I just wanna get it to 165 degrees. Between 165 and 180 is totally fine. And then I'm gonna add some vinegar to get the curds in the whey to separate. This is a look at what I actually preserved yesterday. It's just halved and peeled tomatoes. But before I can put them on the shelf, I need to make sure that the outsides of the jars are impeccably clean because we don't want to be attracting any pests to the jars while they sit on the shelf. And if you're wondering about if I'm scared about the amount of weight on our cabinets, the answer is yes. We did look it up before we made this shelving system on top of our cabinets. And in theory, each cabinet system should be able to hold 600 pounds. That sounds like a lot. I don't know that our house is made that well, but so far it's been working okay. I've shut off the heat, and now I'm going to add 1.5 cups of apple cider vinegar. You can already see the curds and whey starting to separate. Okay, we need to allow the curds and the whey to separate for around 20 minutes. It is 3:30 right now. It's kind of a hot day. This is the hottest time of day, and I need to go outside and make sure that our pigs have enough water in their wallows.
It's not food time yet. It's not. No.
The girls have a really big wallow underneath that tarp over there. That's been established for quite some time and it holds water really well. Our boar, though, he hasn't been in this little area for very long, so his wallow hasn't had a chance to really pack down and retain water. So I come out periodically throughout the day and make sure that Bobo's wallow has enough water. Pigs can't sweat, so it's really important that they have that moisture on their skin to help with the evaporative cooling. All right, so it's a little while later. The cheese is up here dripping the whey into our feed bucket, and my husband let me know he's on his way home, so I've got dinner started. I know this looks like chicken, but this is actually canned rabbit, and I'm making fritters on the skillet tonight. If you've never had rabbit meat before, you want to make sure that when you are cooking rabbit meat that you use some kind of fat along with it. So I do have lard on my skillet here, and there's also egg inside the fritter recipe, and so the egg yolk helps add fat into it. Otherwise, rabbit is pretty dry. Now the rabbit is already cooked. All we're really doing is cooking the egg all the way through on the skillet and trying to get a nice brown crust. So the cheese is all drained. I just need to add some salt and put it in a mold. Homemade cheese needs a surprising amount of salt to really retain a lot of its flavor. Otherwise, it's pretty darn bland. So I have a tablespoon here. And again, remember this was 2 gallons of milk. I'm gonna be putting all of this pink Himalayan salt straight in there and mixing it well. You can definitely add any herbs or flavorings at this point. I really like the plain cheese. It makes it super versatile, and this cheese does freeze very, very well. When I freeze cheese for the future, I never know what I'm gonna be wanting it for, so having it be just a plain Jane is perfect. There it is. It's gonna firm up a lot in the refrigerator overnight. So tomorrow what I'll probably do is cut half of this up, put half in the freezer, and then have the other half for fresh eating this week. Is it good?
Mm-hmm.
It's been marinating for a couple days in the fridge.
He crowns you with faithful love and compassion. He satisfies you with goodness. Your youth is renewed like the eagle.
The day's not quite over yet. It's time to milk the goats. My favorite is when they're out in the field like they are right now, and I have to call them in. Come on, let's go. I don't know how it happened exactly, but I somehow got into an evening routine with the goats, and I've tried to readjust back into a morning routine, but I keep getting out later and later and later until it's suddenly evening again. So I guess this is what we're doing for now. Christine here is still nursing Elpis 24/7. I let her. I need Elpis to grow and be as strong as possible. So we're not getting a whole ton out of Christine, but Elpis is plenty. Good girl. There we go. That's it. That's it. That's it. Basically fell down trying to feed them. Look. Mess though. That's why the La Mancha babies get their own section and their own feed, because they are still growing. Everybody else out here, they actually don't need grain at all. They just want to be fatties. Margot is a rock star on the milk stand. It has been a long time since she had her babies, and she still will fill this milk pail all the way up.
So number one.
Yeah, that's a number one. My turn. Bentley's turn.
Good now.
There's just a couple more very hungry mouths to feed before the sun sets. For the pigs, I've got the whey from our cheese making earlier and some other kitchen refuse from the day. And then for Havoc and his girlfriend, they've got a commodity mix mixed with some alfalfa. We hear you. Me too, we hear you. Yeah. Hi, Junie. Hi, baby. Ready? Go. That's it, babe. It is still super hot out. Thank you so much for joining me for all of today and everything that I had going on. Obviously, things are gonna change day by day. I don't get into my beehives every day, and we're about to restart homeschooling with our kids. I'm thinking about doing one of these day in the life videos every month since things change so much month to month, season to season, and day to day. I genuinely hope that if you're not already subscribed, that you will hit that subscribe button down below, and we'll see you in the next video.